Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of three. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you're notified every week with my new podcasts on Mondays and Tuesdays. And if you haven't already, join my free group coaching with on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health, and you will be a part of an amazing like-minded group to support you on your journey, in addition to truly taking control of your health. My goal is to reach everyone on earth with eyes to see and ears to hear my message of healing, so help me with that goal, especially this one. We're talking about a subject that has hit every single household: understanding the depths of thyroid-related depression, thyroid issues, mood disorders. Those two things are the true pandemic. And there has been an increase in hypothyroidism, people experiencing suboptimal metabolism. And I don't know if you're one of them. What are the symptoms to look for? Fatigue, weight gain, this unexplained weight gain, difficult losing weight despite all of the diets and the exercise that you're doing. You're sensitive to cold. Your hands and feet are always cold. Dry skin and hair. That might be new for you. Maybe you've got hair loss, constipation. Slower digestive processes can lead to constipation, and hypothyroidism can lead to decreased gastrointestinal motility, meaning that the muscles in the digestive tract are slow to move, just like your arms and legs, right? We've got all of these functions in our bodies that are slowing down. That's related to the thyroid depression. And you've got to think about it. You're not getting the circulation to your brain. You're not getting the good hormones. And I just talked about the gut. Well, your happy hormones are made in the gut. So, of course, these things are related. Another sign: muscle weakness, joint pain. And why am I telling you these signs? Because if you go to the doctor, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, the blood tests that they're giving you are not going to show that you've got hypothyroidism, and that could be the cause of your depression. And your psychiatrist that is prescribing the antidepressants is not testing your thyroid hormones. So just keep that in your mind as we're talking here. Swelling, or what we call edema, fluid retention, leading to puffiness, especially in the face or around the eyes, hoarseness in the voice. So what's interesting is the thyroid hormones, particularly T3, play a role in the normal function of the larynx and the vocal cords. So when there's an underprotection of the thyroid hormones, it can lead to hoarseness in the voice. So just like the body's fatigued, the voice is fatigued. And how the thyroid is affecting the mood is the thyroid hormones play a role in regulating the neurotransmitters such as serotonin, norepinephrine, and they influence the mood. So a reduced metabolic activity will also affect the brain, and a lack of motivation, lethargy, fatigue. And when you're tired, you really don't feel good in your brain or your body. You might have memory or cognitive issues, menstrual irregularities, then a slower heart rate may exist, elevated cholesterol levels, muscle cramps, and like I mentioned, the puffy face. So when we're talking about the thyroid affecting depression and how the thyroid is related to depression, iodine deficiency is the number one predictor of both hypothyroidism and depression. There you go. Iodine deficiency and suboptimal thyroid function are among the top two causes of intellectual disability and are associated with congenital deficiency of thyroid hormones, 690% increase in that over the last couple of years. And ADHD has increased significantly as well. Iodine, iodine, iodine. So first, I want to go through the causes of hypothyroidism so we get a big picture here. There's not just one cause of this pandemic of low thyroid function, and it has severely increased over the last 3 years, and there's a reason, and you'll see why. Well, number one, like I mentioned, is iodine deficiency. That is a crucial element for the synthesis of thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. The number 3 and 4 represent the number of molecules of iodine. Therefore, how can you have enough T3 and T4 if you don't have iodine? The lack of iodine in the diet is the number one cause, and 96% of you are iodine deficient. If you are not supplementing with iodine, then you are definitely iodine deficient. Now, add to that, you've got iodine disruptors in our environment, in the water, in the foods, in the air. Some are interfering with the uptake and the utilization of iodine by the thyroid gland. So you have iodine receptor sites all over your body, in every single cell of your body. If you don't have enough iodine in the body, then what happens is you have molecules like fluoride, bromide, and chlorine that look exactly like iodine to the body or to the receptor sites, and they will find their little home in those iodine receptor sites if there's not enough iodine already there. So you've got to have enough iodine in each of the cells to kick out or let all of those iodine disruptors get out of the body. Otherwise, they're going to find little homes in those cells and create havoc. You've got other chemicals found in fertilizers and drinking waters that can competitively inhibit the iodine uptake in the thyroid. So with 96% of you deficient in iodine, the other halogens like fluoride, bromide, and chlorine, go back to chemistry class. The halogens are all in that same column, the iodine, fluoride, bromide, and chlorine. They have that similar structure, and they'll fill those receptor sites. This is not only going to disrupt the thyroid function and slow your metabolism, but it's going to disrupt all cellular function throughout the body, lead to chronic disease, but also lead to depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders. You also have endocrine disruptors. Some toxins other toxins can interfere with the thyroid, and that can be the pesticides, the plastics, BPA, and industrial chemicals. They're everywhere, especially in our processed foods, in things that we don't have any control of, in our laundry detergent, in our dishwasher soap if it's not organic. You've got heavy metals. So lead and mercury, they've been associated with thyroid dysfunction. And did you know lead has also been shown to make your brain crazy? So it's not only disrupting your thyroid, but it's actually disrupting your brain in a different way. Then you've got the radiation that I've talked about. Radiation is coming through the 5G, the EMFs, the Zooms, the computers, everything. Are you using your earbuds? That radiation is creating a whole bunch of problems in the brain. You've got autoimmune thyroiditis or Hashimoto's disease. This is the most common cause of hypothyroidism. You've got medications that can interfere with thyroid function. Thyroid surgery, of course, pituitary gland disorders, and other factors. But I wanted to just touch on the main ones. Now, we want to go through the thyroid hormones and explain them, because this is where the doctors get it wrong, unfortunately. They don't test the full thyroid panel. They usually test the TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone. This is not a thyroid hormone. It's a hormone produced by the pituitary gland. The TSH plays a crucial role in regulating the thyroid gland, but what it's doing is it's screaming at the thyroid to produce T4, and T4 is thyroxine. And then that hormone is essential for regulating the metabolism and converting into T3, which is the active hormone. But the secretion of TSH is controlled by a feedback loop involved in the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and the thyroid gland. And this is the HPT axis. When the levels of the thyroid hormone T3 and T4 are low, then the hypothalamus will release TSH, stimulating the pituitary to release T4. Now, elevated levels of T3 and T4 will have a negative feedback loop, and that will inhibit the release of the TSH. So that's why it is a stimulating hormone. It is not a thyroid hormone. So measuring TSH levels, that is what doctors typically do. Suffering from depression, they'll say, nope, it's not your thyroid. Your TSH is totally normal. Well, that's not true because you're not looking at the actual thyroid hormones. So then you've got the T4. T4 is composed of 4 molecules of iodine, and it's the most abundant thyroid hormone produced by the thyroid gland, but it's the inactive thyroid gland. It is needed to convert into T3 to be active. Now, T3 contains 3 molecules of iodine, and it is usually produced mostly in the liver. That's why you gotta love your liver. And then you also have T2. It's a metabolite of the thyroid hormone T3, and it helps with regulating metabolism and energy production. Now, I say that because when you're depressed, you're usually fatigued and you don't have enough energy, right? So they go hand in hand. Okay, so let's get into thyroid depression. It is a real thing. You've got the T4 thyroxine, which is the main thyroid hormone. It's inactive and it needs to be converted into T3. Due to stress or a backed up liver, that conversion might not work. And you may actually convert that T4 into reverse T3. We've talked about reverse T3 when your body thinks it's being chased by a tiger or you're under chronic stress. Reverse T3 is a good thing in an acute survival mode when you are going to be getting into a famine or you you don't know what's coming, right, in that short term, because what it's doing is it's saying we need to stop digestion. We need to focus on giving our arms and our feet lots of energy, our brain some energy, because we're under threat, right? We're going to slow down our metabolism. We're going to store a lot of body fat to protect our organs because we're under threat. That reverse T3 is not what we like because really we are not being chased by a tiger. We've got plenty of food, right? So when free T3 is activated, blood sugar is released to be utilized effectively, metabolism increases, energy increases. But when the T4 converts into reverse T3 instead of free T3, we have the opposite. And that is something really important to think about. So the HPT axis, the hypothalamus pituitary thyroid axis, is closely interacts and plays off each other in response to stressors. As stress increases, the adrenals release the stress hormones like cortisol and epinephrine. The HPT axis will start converting the T4 into reverse T3, slowing down the metabolism as that survival mechanism, and mood will decrease. And then that will increase stress even more. Because when you're depressed, your stress level goes up. You know, I was talking to somebody who was suicidal at one point, and they said, you know, you feel so low and so guilty and so shameful that if someone says to you, gosh, if you did something to yourself, do you know how much it would hurt everybody in your life? That's the wrong thing to say. Why? Because that is going to actually increase that level of perceived stress, increase that shame and that guilt that person has, and it's going to increase the cortisol and the epinephrine, and it's this vicious cycle, and it's going to increase the reverse T3. Now, a lot of people with suicidal thoughts or depression have maybe some unexplained weight gain. So that's going to make things worse because it's actually telling the body to store more body fat. So you can see how these things become this vicious cycle. And as a result of that increased reverse T3, your mood is going to decrease. That's going to increase the stress even more, creating this vicious cycle. Lower T3 levels have been found in people with stress-related mental health problems. So if the T4, you have to think about the T4 is the inactive thyroid hormone, converts to T3, the good free T3 in the gut, the liver, and the kidneys. Therefore, if the gut microbiome is off, or the liver is backed up, or if the kidneys aren't functioning, then you are going to have low thyroid. Now, the gut, under perceived stress, what does the gut do? The gut shuts off digestion. The gut will actually create leaky gut, and you will have the foreign pathogens. The gut pathogens take over the good gut bacteria. So that's going to affect your immune system. That's going to affect your digestion. And if your liver's backed up from the 5G and the radiation from other sources, the other toxins we've talked about, the GMOs that we've talked about, and you have all of these things, and we haven't even talked about the healthy foods that could be backing up the liver, like the oxalates or the sulfur-containing vegetables, that liver is going to go, oh my God, I can't do anymore. And we haven't even mentioned the spike protein, what it does to the liver. So the liver is already working super hard. When it is backed up, that T4 is not going to be optimally converting into T3. And your kidneys, from stress, from all the stress that we're experiencing, is going to also back up, and it's going to be holding that the adrenals. The kidneys hold the adrenals. So if the adrenals are overtapped by chronic stress, then the kidneys are going to inflame, and then they're going to retain water. So you can see how all of these things are interrelated. Neurotransmitters like GABA, dopamine, serotonin, they're made in the gut. Well, if our gut's compromised, this is going to lead to mood issues in addition to ineffective T4 to T3 conversion, and that's going to compound the low mood and the depression. That is why the liver, you gotta love your liver. Most of the conversion from T4 to T3 occurs in the liver, and that's also where our anger and frustration emotions are stored. So for all of you doing my Ascent Diet Cleanse and my liver flush, when you start taking the liver supplements, it actually might stir up some old emotions, some anger and frustration. But once you release that all of the stones out of the liver and you finish the liver flush, you are going to feel this sense of calm and no more anger and a boost in mood. So that is why we really need to focus on the liver and look at the kidneys and the gut. So thyroid stress is a real thing. It's defined as an emotional state characterized by extreme apprehension, discomfort caused by the challenge and demand of living with thyroid disorders and knowing you're not going to get out of it. It's not like getting sick with the cold where you know, okay, in 3 days I'm going to feel better. You know that there's no out. You don't feel it. You're not getting hope from your medical professionals, or everyone's telling you that your thyroid's totally fine. So there's no hope. Now, hypothyroidism also impacts your sex hormones, your testosterone, your estrogen, and that's why they are directly related to T4 and T3. As estrogen goes down, thyroid hormones may go down. And if there's a significant change in sex hormones, there might also be a decrease in thyroid hormones and may contribute to symptoms of anxiety, irritability, and you might be misdiagnosed with, just signs of aging. Oh, it's normal. You're in menopause. These hormonal changes are totally normal. Well, are they really? Are they really normal? And no, you can feel better during menopause than you did in your 20s. At 48, my birthday was yesterday. I feel better than I did in my 20s. I feel better when I was having my children and they were young. My energy's better. And believe me, it's not because my kids are out of the house and older, because you got little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems, right? So my stressors with my family, that hasn't gotten any better. Have I done a better job of maintaining my perceived stress at a lower level? Yes. But why am I able to do that? Because my thyroid's working and I have energy physically and mentally to do so. So, what are some signs that your thyroid imbalance is affecting your mental health? Fatigue, brain fog, unexplained weight gain, like I said, insomnia. You feel like that stress is so overwhelming that you can't get ahead of it, right? We all have stressors. I always tell my husband, because he thinks he's got more stress than anyone else on this world, I go, no, no one wants to trade their problems, because we all have our stressors that we're used to. But how do we perceive those stressors? The stressors are going to come and go regardless of what we do. So, how are we going to perceive it? Because that is going to affect our mental health. So, it is true that 30 to 50% of people experience inadequate responses to their antidepressants. Are you on antidepressant? Does it feel good? How's your energy? How is your mood? How is your unexplained weight gain? Has your doctor tested your thyroid numbers? Has your doctor tested more than just the TSH or maybe even the T4? This includes those that are suffering from hypothyroidism. So most people with depression have not been diagnosed properly with hypothyroidism. If you're hyperthyroid, which is less common, you would be more irritable, anxious, mood swings, sleeplessness, restlessness. Hypothyroidism is more depressed, fatigue, concentration issues, memory issues, weight gain, reproductive issues. As a result, more individuals with thyroid issues are misdiagnosed with depression and are put on that type of medication, but no amount of SSRIs are going to upregulate the thyroid, which is the root cause of the issue. In fact, it actually might make your thyroid worse, because any medication is disrupting the gut. And those medications also are backing up the liver, because every medication by definition is toxic to the liver. So the liver is having to work harder and harder to get those toxins out of the body. Most most women with hypothyroidism have a greater prevalence of menstrual issues, PCOS, erratic periods, libido, infertility. So if you are suffering from any of that, you could be suffering from hypothyroidism. And you also want your doctor to be your gyno to be looking at your thyroid numbers as well. And I can tell you, my gyno never tested anything other than my TSH. So here we go. The thyroid is the master endocrine gland. It is producing mental and physical energy, right? So if you are suboptimal thyroid due to iodine deficiency, that lack of conversion from the inactive to the active thyroid hormones, or you have heavy metals in your body, fluoride, chlorine, bromide, that displace the iodine, all of these things are going to disrupt your thyroid function. There's also been serious exposure for all of us due to Chernobyl and Fukushima, the nuclear explosions. And now, as of last August, they even notified us in the news, Japan did, that Fukushima was leaking that toxic radioactive water into the oceans. Even China said, oh, we don't want your water, we don't want your seafood, because they know that it is super toxic to the whole body, not just the thyroid. Now we also have the detrimental effects from the spike protein, which all of these things are forcing iodine out of the system. So iodine is no longer sufficient from the diet alone, and iodine that is in the diet is usually contaminated with heavy metals or radiation. Iodine and iodized salt, that salt is full of microplastics. The body's so weak and it can't break apart the iodine from the sodium as well. So that's why it's really important to make sure you're getting the proper type of iodine. Radiation and toxicity alone are generally linked to depression, anxiety, and all mental health disorders as well. So why haven't my mental health issues cleared up after starting thyroid medication? Well, because most thyroid medication consists of the inactive T4. And according to Amy Horniman, who will be on the show tomorrow, only 2% of the population actually get results from a T4 only medication. T4 is mostly useless unless the liver is detoxed properly and able to convert that T4 into the active T3. And if not, then the metabolism, mental and physical energy and your immune system are going to suffer. All thyroid medications are failing to address the toxins from radiation and halogens, the fluoride, bromide, and chlorine that clog the thyroid in the liver, leading to the anxiety, depression, and ADHD. They're not addressing those. Serotonin, the happy hormone, norepinephrine, that is responsible for focus and energy. Both positively correlate to T3. And so it's really important that you are actually addressing the active hormone T3, not just T4 and TSH. Dopamine, our drive or motivation hormone, is positively correlated with T3 levels as well. So what do we want to do here? First of all, how can it go wrong? The three types of hormones, the T3, T4, and actually even the T2, that 2, 3, and 4 represent the molecules of iodine. We need 90% of the hormones produced by your thyroid is in the form of T4. So why would we just supplement with T4? Because probably we actually have enough in it, most people. The liver needs to convert that T4 to T3, right? And that's where we get our metabolism. Just taking the T4 thyroid medication, you are not helping that active thyroid hormone in improving the metabolism and your mood disorders. So most people, like I said, get the physicians only test the TSH and the T4, and they're not testing anything else. So what do we do here? The number one supplement that you need to take, not just for your mood, but also for that unexplained weight gain. But the Accelerdyne iodine is the only one that is 100% absorbed by all 100 trillion cells in the body, including the brain. Accelerdyne helps detox the brain from radiation, heavy metals that cause brain fog, depression, and anxiety. It provides the necessary iodine for the T4 and type T3, and also helps regulate the estrogen and the other sex hormones that can be dysregulated due to the chronic stress causing hypothyroidism. The other thing to think about is 96% of you are iodine deficient, right? So it's also helping with the iodine in the T2, which is really important for fat burning and that overall energy. It's the only single atom of iodine that's easily absorbed by all of the cells in the body, helps provide that sufficient iodine. It helps detox the cells of the heavy metals. It displaces fluoride, chlorine, and bromide. So this is where you go back to chemistry, and it's that halogen displacement. By high dosing in the iodine, you are not even letting the new fluoride, chlorine, and bromide that we're taking in to get settled in the body, and the body naturally detoxes and kicks it out. But when you high dose iodine, you need to make sure it is the Accelerdyne iodine. Other iodines are coming from toxic sources or have other molecules that you could be allergic to, and that could cause a reaction. And that's why there's so much misinformation about iodine. Accelerdyne iodine is different than all other iodines. It helps alleviate the damage done by the mRNA and the spike protein. That is also what we're seeing. Um, it also helps with the worsening hypothyroid symptoms that people are getting from that spike protein as well. It cleanses the blood so the liver can do its job in further detoxing the body from toxins related to hypothyroidism. And it's cleaning out and detoxing the pineal gland. The pineal gland is referred to the third eye in some religions. And it also, the thyroid is the bridge from the brain to the body and physical and mental energy, which is really important for that depression as well. Secondly is the accelerated thyroid. Where it is, here it is, accelerated thyroid. It is the most comprehensive natural thyroid supplement to help restore thyroid function. It is composed of grass-fed thyroid glandular to provide the necessary peptides and amino acids and needed nutrients for the thyroid. And then we add in the ancient Ayurvedic formula of Conchanar, known to detox and support the thyroid, and we add in additional amino acids needed for thyroid optimization. But like all of the other accelerated brand supplements, we enhance it with scalar frequencies, to clear emotional and physical shock from the body, improve overall health of the thyroid, detox those heavy metals, radiations, and the halogens, and then balance the thyroid and the parathyroid. The thyroid and parathyroid work together. The accelerated thyroid helps prevent fatty liver. Did you know fatty liver is the number one fastest growing disease in the United States? It is related to insulin resistance. Well, guess what helps with insulin resistance? Accelerated iodine and the accelerated ancient salt. Both of those things help with lowering your blood sugar in addition to the accelerated keto. But we want to prevent that fatty liver, because if our liver's fat, it can't work and convert that T4 to T3. So it also helps with wound healing, strengthening connective tissues, helps with mood, strengthens digestion, and helps with B12 production. I had a couple girls tell me, young girls that had hormonal issues and menstrual issues, say, "Oh my gosh, Sara, the accelerated thyroid has made my PMS symptoms go away." I've also had someone in menopause say, "Oh my gosh, it's made my hot flashes go away, and I'm just so happy." And they talk about how they're so much happier. And it's because the thyroid is related to mood. Now, you can also use the thyroid fixer, and we will talk about this with Amy Horniman, but this is T2. It helps with burning fat and helping with energy. Well, that is also going to help with your brain energy, and that is related to mental health, right? So the accelerated thyroid, the accelerated iodine, and the thyroid fixer, those three supplements are going to go after helping support that thyroid. And can you take these with your medication? Yes, of course, with the guidance of your doctor. But I can tell you that a lot of people are getting off of their thyroid medication with these supplements. Now, saying that, most people, including 98% of you who are on T4 medication only, are actually getting nothing from the medication, so it's not doing you any good anyways. Okay, so for your mental health, beyond the accelerated and the accelerated thyroid and the thyroid fixer, you can use the Cognoblast, which helps with, here it is, it helps with the mental aspect. It is the first nutraceutical that has combined smart nutraceuticals that are cutting edge with Ayurvedic herbals and other nutrient dense supplements or ingredients to help with the brain. It helps alleviate mental anxiety, depression, agitation, fatigue, frustration, all of those things associated with thyroid disease. You can have enhanced or experience enhanced focus. ATP increases. So what is ATP? That's cellular energy. We get an increase in ATP from the iodine, from the accelerated thyroid, from the accelerated keto, and also from the cognoblast. It enhances memory and learning speed, helps with motivation. It even prevents Alzheimer's and dementia and helps decrease the inflammation in the brain and the body, improves circulation, and it reduces that perceived stress. Remember, we are all going to have stress. And it seems like those stressors are just increasing globally and personally as time goes on. But it's all about how do we perceive our stress. And this will help reduce that stress. I've had people come out of the woodwork that I had no idea were on antidepressants or anti-anxiety drugs. And they are really strong drugs. They've been on them for 20 years plus. The cognoblast was able to get them off. They were able to wean themselves off and stay off with the support of the cognoblast. Now, I've mentioned the accelerated keto. And why does this help with your thyroid health and your mental health? Because it's flipping your body into ketosis, which increases fat burning, but it contains ingredients that synergistically increase mood, provide that stable and extended energy, cleanses the liver for improved thyroid conversion from T4 to T3, and supports overall mental health. I had someone start my Ascent Diet Cleanse yesterday, which includes the accelerated iodine, the accelerated thyroid, the accelerated keto. And day one, she said, I already feel a shift. I'm more productive. I'm on it. I feel happy. And why else is it helping you? It's not needing a ketogenic diet. In fact, I do not recommend a high fat diet for most people anymore. But what it's doing is it's kicking you into ketosis so you can intermittent fast. What does intermittent fasting do? It helps stabilize your blood sugar. You know, that Ben and Jerry's, that pizza, that helps your mood temporarily for that 30 minutes, but then your blood sugar is going to dip and you're going to need more sugar, more processed foods to help you feel good. And what the accelerated keto does is it stabilizes and flatlines that blood sugar. So you feel great, your mood's up. And guess what else is happening? Your gut is healing from all the things that have killed your gut and let the gut pathogens take over. And the leaky gut is going to start to heal so that you can start producing more GABA, more serotonin, and more dopamine. Now, what else you can use is accelerated copper. Now, something's interesting about copper is over the last 3 years, we have had the spike protein and processed foods, both independent of each other, deplete our copper levels. And copper is essential for the synthesis and metabolism of thyroid hormones. So it is helping, it's a cofactor for several enzymes involved in the synthesis of and playing in the conversion of the T4 to the T3. And it also helps with oxidative stress. So copper is also something that you can take once a day. You do not take it multiple times a day like you can with the accelerated silver, but just once a day. It is 100% bioavailable, unlike most copper supplements that are only 5 to 10%. So you get what you pay for, right? Now we've talked about the liver. You gotta love your liver. Now the accelerated keto helps cleanse the liver on a daily basis, right? But we do need to incorporate the accelerated liver flush at least 4 times a year. The liver's where T4 converts into the active T3. And if it's not functioning properly, then hypothyroidism, slow metabolism, and depression are going to ensue. And remember, your anger and your agitation and your frustration are stored in your liver. So your frustration is going to go up. Think about over the holidays. Were you drinking and eating a little more? That's a lot of work for your liver. Now, were you also experiencing higher perceived stress? Yes, there's more stress during the holidays, and that's why you probably were drinking a little more. But that perceived stress increases when you're not drinking. So you will then need to drink more to handle that perceived stress. How do we get out of this vicious cycle? with the accelerated keto, the accelerated thyroid, the acceleratine, and now the liver flush. The liver flush is going to improve that insulin resistance and uric acid levels, improve protein and fat metabolism. Remember, I just mentioned that I don't tell people to stay on a high fat diet. And why is that? Because everyone's liver is suffering and the fat metabolism occurs in the liver. So if you can't break down the fat you're eating, it does you no good. You might get the bumps on the back of your arms, or your hair's falling out, or you just feel sluggish, or your stool is floating in the toilet. Those are signs that you're not breaking down that fat. Well, the accelerated liver flush is going to improve your fat metabolism so that you can actually break down the fat and use it more for energy, and also improve your protein metabolism. And we gotta get in our protein, right? So you have this back and forth of how much protein should I eat, because if the liver's backed up, you can't break it down. The liver flush will also improve your inflammation, improve the thyroid hormones, detox the body of radiation and the toxins that inhibit the thyroid function, help with that fatty liver disease we talked about, and improve the ACE2 receptor function damaged by the spike protein. That spike protein has put a whole new wrench in our health profiles, right? And it's affecting everyone. I don't care if you've had the virus or if you've gotten the jab or not. We've all gotten exposed to the spike protein, and maybe today we go to the market and we get another exposure from the guy in front of us, right? Okay, so what do we do away from supplements to help with our thyroid function? Low carb diet. Now, high wild animal protein is what we want to focus on, but low carb. What that's going to do is that's going to increase your ATP production. When you are on a high carb processed food diet, not only does it not improve your ATP cellular function and ATP production, it actually steals energy from your cells, steals ATP. So you're eating these processed foods and you're actually extracting energy from the body, lowering thyroid, lowering metabolism, increasing fatty liver, and increasing the fat storage on the body. It's not all about counting calories, right? It actually has nothing to do with calories. You will actually burn an additional 300 calories per day when you're on a low carb diet. Then the wild animal protein. So why is this important? It actually has a thermic effect. It utilizes 25% of the protein calories just for digestion and heating up that body. Have you ever experienced when you're eating too much protein at once and you actually get this flush of heat? That's your body turning on that thermic effect. It triggers the release of glucagon, the fat burning hormone, and also the amino acids in this protein stimulates CCK, a hormone in the gut that signals to the brain that appetite is satisfied. So you say, okay, I've had enough to eat, don't need to eat anymore. And you're not reaching for the processed foods anymore. It's going to improve that ATP production, help with the liver, and improve the thyroid function and metabolism and your mood. The brain needs its protein. If I don't get enough protein, I get headaches, I get hangry. That's not where you want to be. You want to incorporate that intermittent fasting. You use the accelerated keto, fast, and then break your fast with the wild animal protein. The intermittent fasting is where you are restricting your eating to a 2 to 8 hour window. This is going to reset insulin sensitivity. This is crucial for your brain and your mood and help with metabolism. And like I mentioned, the processed foods, we got to get rid of them. They are causing high uric acid levels, which lead to an increase in insulin resistance, fat storage, and reduced metabolism, decreases the ATP levels, like I mentioned, elevates your uric acid, which is going to trigger a survival switch. Remember, we talked about when your body's in survival mode, it's going to slow down metabolism, increase that reverse T3, encourage the fat storage because we don't know when we're going to eat, and it increases caloric consumption because you're stressed and you want to eat more. It increases the oxidative stress. It blocks the release of fatty acids from stored fat that further reduces ATP production. So not only is the fat you're eating from the processed foods going to be stored directly as fat, cause fatty liver and all of that, but away from the increase in calories, it's going to take the existing calories and block the fatty acids from stored fat, so you can't even burn your own body fat. So falling ATP levels, which is going to occur when you eat this processed foods, signals that emergency response again. So one more layer of it, lowering metabolism, increasing reverse T3 even further, and increasing your hunger for these processed foods. It is like a triple whammy. Now, if you want to add in the stem cell activation patches that I wear on a daily basis, these are the energy enhancer patches, increase ATP production, increase circulation, help with water retention, and burn an extra 300 calories a day. That's a way to help with the mood and the circulation, because you need to get circulation to your brain. You can use the X39 patch. That's going to stimulate your own stem cell production. So you are going to help with every function in the body, improving mood. The Eon patch. I love this patch because it's the anti-inflammatory, anti-stress happy patch. I like to wear it at night. It helps me with my sleep. It balances and calms the brain down, reduces cortisol from chronic stress, and elevates DHEA. You can also incorporate the glutathione and the Alavita patch. Those are two other ones that people really enjoy using. Now, I would also recommend eliminating alcohol. Alcohol disrupts that hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis and leads to hypothalamus, but it also leads to perceived stress going up and that just the mood disorders, because alcohol also causes leaky gut. Lastly, but probably most importantly, you've got to get your sleep. At least 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep will help benefit your circadian rhythms, and that is going to affect your thyroid. You know, I always laugh. I actually listened to a podcast this morning where they were talking about the guy that wakes up at 4 to get in the workout, but it's backfiring because it's just stress onto stress onto stress. Yes, exercise is good for you, but it is a stressor. So if you're pairing that with your lack of sleep, it's going to lower your metabolism because your body is in survival mode. Your body is so smart, it wants to live. What is it going to protect the most? Your organs, your vital organs. It is going to sacrifice your hair, your nails, your skin, and your fat and the way you look, because your body doesn't care how it looks. It cares about staying alive. So sleep, sleep, sleep. No one can get away with less than 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Hopefully this tapped into what you're experiencing and you had some aha moments. Share this with some of your friends. Everyone I know is suffering from thyroid issues, mood issues, the combination. This is one that everyone needs to hear. So thanks for joining me today. If I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. Happy to put together a protocol for you, and join the free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health. And my goal is to make all of this not feel so overwhelming, so that you actually take the supplements, change a couple things, and go, oh my gosh, I can do this. That is my goal. And in the group coaching, we do that on a daily basis. You'll be a part of a like-minded group to support you on your journey. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, across over 100 channels under Accelerated Health TV and radio show. And as I mentioned, my goal is to reach everyone on earth with eyes to see and ears to hear my message of healing. So help me with that goal. Share this podcast with a few of your friends who may need my help. Join us every week, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. You can find all of the supplements and all of my podcasts on the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. Use coupon WELCOME10 for 10% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us here, and have a great week.